Hello, Jim Stroud here with a public service announcement. Due to the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of companies have had to lay off their workers. If you are a business owner and you are in the unfortunate position to have to lay off a significant amount of your workers, here are some things you might not want to do. You might not want to lay off 40% of your staff with a text message. You might not want to have an anonymous spokesperson lay off all your workers via Zoom. And in the event you do have to fire your workers, you might want to let them know first before you announce it elsewhere. Check this out. Thank you. Okay, Third Love, a bra brand that trades on its feminist messaging and was previously investigated by Vox, laid off the entire retail staff for its New York pop-up without any notice. A person with knowledge of the situation said, the staffers initially weren't offered severance and didn't even get a phone call, said the source, who spoke to Vox, on condition of anonymity. They said online they offered severance and benefits to the team, the source said, noting the company also posted this information on Instagram, but they hadn't actually formally communicated anything to the team. The source said some staffers posted about the disparity between Third Love's public statement and their experience on social media, but those posts now appear to have been deleted. You know, I could go on with more examples of companies behaving badly during this pandemic, and, you know, I think I will. Now, if you think those examples that I shared with you were a bit extreme, they're not. Check this out. Thank you. You're on it. All right. Early results of a special report from the Hinge Research Institute titled How Professional Service Firms Are Responding to the COVID-19 Disruption show that 53.4% of respondents are dissatisfied with their employer's crisis response. The report, part of the annual employer branding study, captures the perspectives of 217 employees from over 200 professional services firms. The research was conducted between March 20th through March 31st, 2020. Now let's look at some of these results here. Go to on the next one. Thank you. This chart is from that research I just cited. This chart here is entitled What Professional Service Firms Should Avoid. And of course, this is based on the survey results of the employees who were already dissatisfied with the company's response to the coronavirus crisis. So, things to avoid. Firms did not have a plan. Looked like 56% of the companies that were surveyed did not have an adequate crisis response plan. So, if your company didn't have one, you're not alone in that. Also, poor communication was that 25%, so that's a major issue. And then you have some other issues here, like employees were concerned with job security, meaning that in the plan or the lack of a plan, companies did not reassure their workers that they were doing all they can to keep them on board. So that's what that's about. Going on further, firms did not have alternative revenue streams to help weather this storm. And likely in this last one here, which I suspect would be much higher if you had more respondents, inability to work remotely was also cited. Now, when I was looking at that chart and some other research connected to it, a certain company came to mind. A company that's been getting a lot of negative press right now, so I don't want to stomp on their toes as well. Instead, I'll just tap lightly. Imagine getting a generic sounding Zoom webinar invitation titled COVID-19 Update. The host and the guest list of the Zoom webinar is hidden, so you Slack your coworkers to see if they got the same invite you did. When the Zoom begins, no one is there. Just a dark background that says COVID-19. After waiting a few minutes, you think something might be wrong, so you log out and try to log back in, but you cannot. For those who are still on the call, they hear a voice they don't recognize. I'll play some of it now, and in the interest of time, I'll have my wonderful editor there pop up additional quotes from this article. Listen to this.
I also want to acknowledge that, like most everything we're experiencing right now, this is a suboptimal way to deliver such a message. We've all watched the COVID-19 pandemic radically and quickly disrupt our way of life in as little as 4 short weeks, with prolonged changes that are yet to be fully known or seen. COVID-19 has also had a massive impact on our business, one that has forced our leadership team and our board of directors to make many extremely difficult and painful decisions. One of those decisions is to eliminate a number of roles at the company. Unfortunately, your role is impacted by this decision, and Friday, April 3rd, will be your last day with Bird. This is very difficult to hear during an already challenging time. Please know that I, along with all of the leadership team at Bird, recognize and are grateful for you. Thank you for helping build Bird and for making it so very, very, very special.
Can you believe it? I can't believe that. I mean, wait, I need a second. Because I can't believe a company would do that to their workers. So it is hard to believe that in this age of social media that companies would risk the negative repercussions of bad word of mouth from their employees. An unhappy customer will spread their disappointment to 9 or 15 people, but an unhappy worker will spread their disappointment a whole lot further. They will talk to coworkers, they will talk to family, they will talk to friends, negatively impacting the company's reputation far and wide, because within their networks, they are a recognized authority regarding the company because they work there. And what's worse, when the crisis is over, and it will be over one day soon, companies will need those same people to return to work when everyone's best effort will be needed the most. And after being treated like that, do you think any of those workers will want to return and work for you in the future? Probably not. And what about all those people that are reading their negative comments said about your company on social media? I mean, go to the next thing. Go to the next thing.
Hi there, Will Staney, founder and CEO here at Productive Talent. And a big question I'm getting asked during this time is, do we still need employer branding during a pandemic? And to answer that question, I would say you need it more than ever. Actually, I think what we're going to see during this time is companies who put profit over people in the past are going through a reckoning. Employer branding is all about a promise you make to employees and candidates, and then whether you actually live up to those promises once they're an employee and through the experience that they have each day working at your company. Coronavirus and COVID-19 pandemic that we are all going through right now means that these theories are really going to be tested. You already see some bad actors out there who are asking a lot of employees right now. Think of food delivery, grocery stores, warehouse workers. You know, are those companies giving back to those employees and prioritizing their health over their profits at this time? I think a lot of companies talk about how people are its most important asset, and this right now is the time that we find out whether that is really meant at the organization or not. I think another thing that's really important to focus on right now is having a tone of authenticity and be over communicating both with candidates and current employees at this time. So does employer branding matter right now? It matters more than ever, except it's a lot more action and not so much what you say. And so if you're thinking about how to navigate your employer brand during this time, think about what are the actions that your company is taking right now to safeguard its employees, and then talk about that with authentic and real and empathetic messaging at this time.
Well said. What companies do today will greatly enhance or greatly hurt their overall employer brand. Now, there are some companies that are really stepping it up in terms of taking care of their workers. I'm thinking of HEB. Some of the reasons why HEB has been praised by their workers are HEB was first to protect their cashiers with plexiglass. HEB gave raises to their workers when the crisis began. And they also added a coronavirus hotline for employees in need of assistance or information. So kudos to HEB for all of those measures and more. And Postmates is really stepping it up as well. Postmates created an emergency fleet relief fund from which it will cover the cost of workers' doctor's appointments and medical expenses. Something I'm sure would come in handy, especially since this fund that they created will go out to their couriers regardless of whether or not they were quarantined or diagnosed with COVID-19. So pretty cool benefit. Another company going out of their way to protect their employer brand is Facebook. Check out this news report.
That's right. Facebook will give every employee $1,000 to help them during the coronavirus outbreak. Now, Facebook employed 45,000 full-time employees at the end of the year. This news was first reported by The Information this morning. We've confirmed it according to a source close to the situation. Now, Facebook will also give all its employees top ratings for their first 6-month reviews of 2020. This will qualify employees for bonuses. So this is part of a little coronavirus as an extension of that.
Palo Alto CEO Nikesh Arora has really taken some bold steps to protect his workers. Listen to what he has to say.
Well, Jim, thank you for asking the question. At Palo Alto Networks, we preempted this a little bit. We were one of the few first companies to send people home because we figured people need to get established at home to be able to work well remotely so that we can continue to serve our customers. So we put the health and safety of our employees first. We have been in constant communication. And last night, we announced the COVID Relief Fund and a pledge that management has your back. We have committed to no COVID-19 layoffs in our company because people are very insecure. People are concerned about whether they'll have a job when this economic thing comes back around. So we made a commitment that people are going to be protected, their jobs are protected, there'll be no COVID-related layoffs. Additionally, our board and the company has committed to contributing $4 million to match employees' donations, and we're asking our employees to donate up to $1 million or more. So we're hoping to have $5+ million raised very quickly. And the intent is to help our employees in need, first and foremost, 2, help our hourly wage workers, and 3, support the community that we're all in. So we've basically chosen to balance employees or people over profit in this short-term time frame because people are very concerned about what's going on around them.
And this is really curious. A certain CEO has given out his personal phone number to 10,000 of his employees and invited them to call him if they had any coronavirus concerns.
I read in the notes that all of your employees have your cell phone that they can call you if they need to. You've got 10,000 employees. Is that really true?
So about a month ago, we sent out an email from my email address with my phone number, and we encouraged every single employee that has a concern that relates to their health care to just contact me directly. And so far, that's been working well. They've gotten a lot of attention, a lot of good care from all of our providers, and our HR organization is extraordinary, and the team has been working 24/7 since we started work from home in our offices in China and our offices in Europe to really make sure that they were available for the benefit of the employees and their families.
How many employees have personally reached out to you?
Oh, I'd say a few hundred now, but we're fortunate. Very few have actually tested positive so far for COVID-19.
Okay, I know some of you are thinking, Jim, that's great, but I'm not a Facebook or an Activision, and I can't make those grand gestures. And I know that I have to lay people off. I'm a small business and I just have to. Well, if that is your unfortunate position and you do have to lay off a lot of people, let me caution you to consider the words of a great poet, Maya Angelou. And she said this: "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." If you can convey your unfortunate news to your workers in a way that's empathetic, honest, heartfelt, personal, then your workers will pick up on the fact that you care about their situation. And if you're able to relate that to them, then you've taken a big step in protecting your employer brand and made it easier to recruit those same workers back to work for you in the future once all this coronavirus, COVID-19 craziness is over. And that would be truly a win-win for all concerned.